Okay guys, got another video. It's kind of cool. If it makes sense to you, it'd be really cool. If it doesn't make sense, that's kind of goofy. But we're going to talk about the new material system Giants is using in FS19. First off, huge thanks to NC Raiders. He's in my Discord channel. If you go to my website, which I usually link on the video, you can find him in my Discord. Dogface is from the FS19 Discord community. He jumped over my Discord. He's been listening to me complain, piss and moan, mainly because I've been having some issues, and it's usually just operator error. There's a couple issues I'm having with an awesome plugin I'm trying to use here, but and once again, it's probably something I'm doing, so I got to get it straightened out. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a real quick explanation on how the UDIM UDIM system works a little bit, and why it's really saving a lot of data. That's the biggest thing. So basically, well, in the past, this is how this worked. You always had like a diffuse texture. And if you look at a lot of your, so we'll go ahead and bring up almost every single vehicle now. If you go data, vehicles, we'll just go to AGCO, let's wait. As you can see, there's no diffuse textures in here, and actually if you just go in here, they're doing a really good job of referencing materials as well, but they're just a normal and a specular, which normal gives you your bump, your wavy material, look at, as far as texture on the object, and then specular is how the light reacts, and this is the vehicle shader, which is very important because this is what we'll get into. This is what controls all these materials. So, and once again, I probably don't have to get into this depth, but just to explain a little bit, this is how the diffuse worked. Let's just go ahead and open up Barley Diffuse, and then we'll go back to material. I'll just turn shadeless on so we can see it on this cube right here. As you can see kind of a barley texture. I just want to use a simple texture, but the way it used to work, you'd put that UV right here. I mean, it's a little more extended, but basically your UV would be all pulled here in this area, and that's where your image was. Well, now with this new system, they're basically expanding it out. They're putting set grids. There's basically, this would be 0, and you have 1, 2, 3, and so on as wide as your grid. And there's actually even a 0, 0, a 0, 1, and a 0, 2. So basically, you start moving this out to these grids, and as long as you don't have a diffuse texture assigned to your UV, it'll pick them up through the vehicle shader. And once again, it's picking this up because I have this diffuse, and this is all done through Blender anyway. But this is also important as well. As you can see, even if I move this UV outside of that area, it's still picking this image up. And that becomes important because this is where the model is still going to look for its normal and its specular image to put to the UV. So I kind of wanted to explain that as well. Someone else is asking me, okay, if I'm putting my UVs out here, then how, what am I going to do with my normal and my specular? Now, I'm going to try to do another video later because I'm still trying to work that one out because I've been working on these materials so long. But you can actually now, with Blender, it's supported in a plugin out to Giants Editor to actually use second UVs now. That's another video, and I still have to look at, investigate that a little bit. But I just wanted to show that just because this UV is out here, as long as you have your image set to your UVs, it's still going to be looking in this area because it's basically this diffuse is still extending out. It basically repeats itself. So even if I scale this up, as you can see, it's changing the size of the material on that cube, but it's just basically extending this UV area out. I'm not using the right terms. I don't claim to be a genius by any means, so sometimes my language isn't helping much, my vocabulary, but that's just in a short, that's what's going on. No matter what I do with this UV, you can see it's getting larger texture, but no matter where I go, you still have that same texture there. So that kind of explains that I've already wasted basically 5 minutes explaining something that probably 90% of you guys already know. But what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and start a new Blender file here. And so that's kind of how the explanation how the grid works. I'll put a link. Here's my sheet. This is basically just a Google sheet, and this breaks it down a little more. This is all the materials that I know of right now. There's 0 through 07 is actually changeable material. We'll get into that. And then there's 0 through 29. As you can see, I won't name them all off, but you have chrome, copper, leather. I think some people have seen the FarmCon videos where they show where they make the vehicle into leather. To me, it looks like kind of like an orange peel. Now, also, what I have here is I have this cool little grid, I'll call it, I guess. If you basically hover over this material here and click on it, it'll actually take you to a full image, so you can get a better idea what it looks like, because it's kind of hard to see on this, you know, what the true, like for example, let's look at leather quick. Obviously you can't see it there, but if you bring up a larger image of it, and you probably have to zoom in a little bit, you can start to see the texture a little bit. And you're better off probably download and zoom in a little bit with like paint.net or something. But this is where the whole grid comes in as well. As you can see, you have the 0, which means, you know, X0, Y0, which gets back to your UV image editor. You know, this is 0, 0, to give you an idea. 1, or I'm sorry, that was 0. I'm already messed myself up. So that's 0. Let's see if we can actually take this guy and get him out of the way. Maybe we'll zoom this in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So you've got 0 there, and then painted plastic is 1, so that's basically over 1. So that would be this grid right here. I need a better picture over the top of this so I can explain a little better. Now 0, 0 isn't the same as far as Y, but you go down, or I'm sorry, X, but you go down 1, so it's Y is, you know, a -1, which actually is, I'm using the UV, the default size that I can tell in Blender is 256, and you know, I can change that and affects all these numbers, which I think I have it all locked, so that way someone can't get in there and start messing with it. Not that, you know, someone wants to mess with it can, but it would mess it up for me. So basically you've got 0, 0, 0, you know, so it's just down 256 to this area, and then of course it's so on. It's pretty easy to figure out it's a grid. So if you want to go to 8, it's just basically up 1 or up 256. You know, 16 is up 512 or two grids, and we'll get into why I have the up 1, right 2 in just a little bit. But I just wanted to give an idea, you know, how that grid's kind of working. It's finding these materials by going to that specific grid. Now I did mess with making a whole grid system out, and I'll probably share this in a link as well through OneDrive. But if you open up, I made basically a cube for every one of these materials, if it'll cooperate and open for me. So here it is. I just have them numbered by a grid again, you know, the 0, -256, and so on. But as you can see, it is everything in there. You can see obviously the wood kind of sticks out. Some of the other stuff's a little hard to see. You can see the scratched, oh, what is that? Scratched copper, brass, I can't remember, and then chrome, of course, and then you have copper. I think that one's rubber. But what we'll do is we'll kind of get in how the system works a little bit as well, since I have this up. So I showed in my color video how you start changing the numbers in the vehicle shader to start affecting your color and how to find it. Well, this, now I have a little bit better idea how it actually works. So to give you a breakdown, these materials here, so you got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's actually 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, and so on. These materials can be, the colors can be changed. They can be manipulated through the XML, and they can be changed in the vehicle shader. So if we come down here, you know, we're going to say concentrate on that guy, and I can actually, being these are all the same material, I can actually pick another square and start changing it. But just to get as a good practice, we can select it so we know what we're messing with. But you can see color material 0, you know, and that's that guy right there. If I take this slider and I start changing them, in fact, let's zoom in so you can see it a little better. Yeah, if I start taking the slider and slide it around, you can see the color change. So that's just basically that 0, 0, color material 0. That's what that stands for. And in my grid, it'll actually say color material 0. So it's red, green, blue. So you know, the more you go with 0 to 1, so if you change that to 1, that to 0, and that to 0, it's going to be completely red. I don't even know what the default numbers were, but obviously you could see it was more of a yellow. So basically, like I said, you have your red, green, and blue. So if we change this to 0, this to 1, it's going to be green. If we change this to 0, everything 0 is going to be black, and if we go to 1 over here, we're going to be blue because it's red, green, blue. Now if you do 1 on everything, it's going to turn it white. Now this is important as well. This is your material number. So if we go back and look at that grid real quick, you start getting into your actual materials. So 0 is a painted metal, 1 is painted plastic, 2 is chrome, and so on. So if we wanted a painted metal, we would go over here to the right and we would actually put 0. And this, I'm trying to remember what it was. What we'll do is we'll close this again real quick. That way it's default. And that's where the numbers come in on the brand, XML, colors, and everything I kind of showed in the one video. That's where that stuff comes in, because that'll get changed through that XML file. Okay, so back, like I said, you don't have to have, being I'm sharing the material, these are all cube material. So anything I have selected, when I start messing with the vehicle shader, it's going to affect just the actual color that I'm picking. So come back down here so you can see it better. It's not highlighted, but you'll be able to see it a little better. So I won't mess with the color, but I'll start changing materials. So if we go to 0, that was the I think it was painted plastic, right? Yeah, 0 is painted metal. Can't even get it right myself. So 0 is painted metal, 1 is painted plastic, 2 is chrome, and it's pretty cool because see how it has the yellow tint. Now if I come over this guy here, once again I didn't have to select him because it goes off material, not off the object. But if I go to 1, I change this to 2. As you can see, once again, you're getting that chrome red look. So it's kind of a cool little deal here. I know 14, for example, is wood. I picked the wrong one. I picked the green guy here, but so 14 is the red one because that's the color material at 1. As you can see, you get kind of a wood texture. If we bring up the grid, let's see, leather gray is 25. So if we come over here and we hit 25, it's kind of hard to see, especially on the stream probably, or YouTube, but if I really zoom in, you can start seeing that texture of the leather, and I said it looks more like orange peel to me. What's another one we can try? So fabric, so it's 11. Fabric 2 is 11. So I'll come over here, put in 11. As you can see, it looks kind of like a seat material now. If we put a light in, I think it's going to blind it out. Probably going to make it worse for you guys, but hopefully that's coming through. It's just showing how these, like I said, you can change your colors in the first 3, and then you change your material in this guy here. You know, so you can go back to 0, it'll be back to the paint. So it's just going to be a flat. I'm on the wrong one, of course. 0 is just going to go back to the steel, and a lot of times it's plastic as well. So that is how that works. These guys all out here, the only thing you can change, we'll get into the next line, which is up here. All you can change is the dirt and the rust. The rust dents come from the Specular file as well as the dirt. I have to get into that in another video as well. But just to give you an idea, the Specular file I'm using on this guy is a gloss, and it is coming from the data shared in Farming Simulator 19. I think I'm using a Reflector's trailer Specular. Yeah, so if right now I have it turned off, and you can do this with the scripts as well, but I'm just to make it easier, I'm going to do it here. So this is your dents and scratches. So if we change that back to 1, as you can see, we just got all of our dents and scratches on the material. It's starting to get some reflectivity on there, and that represents your dents and scratches. If I go into here, this is the dirt. So now we have dirt on there, and like I said, that's coming from your Specular file, just like it did in FS17 and before. So the one big difference now is with FS19, instead of doing Specular, or I'm sorry, all the other, so you had, what was it? I think there was gloss, there was reflectivity, there was AO, and then it was dirt. Now, and this come from NC Raiders. So now your red is your wear and scratches, green is your AO, and then blue is your dirt. Like I said, that'll be a whole other video, and that'll be a little bit identical to what it was in the past. But so once again, like I said, that's where you can turn on your scratches and your dirt. Like I said, you can also come up here, go scripts, and sometimes this can be a little picky if you don't have your scripts in the right area. In fact, doesn't look like I have vehicles, dirt, toggle dirt. There it goes. Sometimes you got to reset it. And like I said, all it's doing is changing that number. I have not dug in to see what these are yet. They may be for another shader. I don't really know, but I do know that that's scratches and dents, and that is dirt. So, got a basic idea how to do that. And once again, we're dragging on here. We're 16 minutes in, and I haven't gotten to the good stuff on how to do this. Let's close this guy out. So what I'm going to do first of all is talk about NLD Farmers. They have a plugin. I'll add it into the links. What it does is let you move your UVs around kind of automatically. I've got a little bit of a problem I'm having with it, and I think once again it's user error. I don't think it's the plugin. I think it's something I'm doing wrong. But what we'll do is we'll bring in a couple of cubes here. I'll show you the plugin, and like I said, there'll be a link on how to find that. I'm not going to show how to install a plugin because once again I'm not going to try to get into some things you can find on other videos, because that'll just take a little more time, and people already know how to do it. They don't really need to see it. So once again, you can just basically Google on how to add a plugin or an add-on to Blender. But we're going to go ahead and we're just going to add a cube right now. We're going to go into edit mode, select all, and we're just going to do a simple smart UV project. Now it does recommend to put it at least at 0.03 on your island margins. You want to make sure with these materials you don't get outside that grid. Remember I showed you how it spreads outside, so you want to make sure you stay inside. As you can see, they're all inside that grid right now, and you could probably even go a little tighter than that inside, but we should be okay. I was testing it this way, so I think we'll be okay. So now you have your UV. What we're going to do now is we're going to hit T to activate tools, and here's your material selector. Now here's where it gets a little goofy. Doing the whole cube I don't think is going to be a big deal. I had some issues when you start moving things around, and we'll get into that later. But what we're going to do is we're going to make this guy wood. So what's cool about this, you just click this little tab right here, and bam, it goes up to the wood tile. Yeah, we'll go from here on that, because like I said, there's been some other issues I've had when I start selecting multiple faces, but we should be good for just doing a single one. So basically now you've moved your UVs. Now very important, as you can see, I moved this. I haven't done a material yet. If you select your material first and then start moving your UVs, for some reason I was having problems with this getting to export correctly. So dog facing me helped me out a little bit on this side, but kind of what I figured out is don't do a material until you have these UVs moved correctly. So now we're going to go in, make a new material. The name isn't really important right now. We're going to go to our texture, and we're going to go new. Now here's something else in FS19, because of the whole diffuse deal and not using it. Here's some problems that kind of come about for me. So if I just exported this guy right now, in fact we can do that. We got the material, we go File, Export, Giant's Eye 3D. I'm just going to put it in here for now. We're just going to call Untitled 1. I'm going to export, and of course it's going to do this to me. So let me see here. UV, File, Export, Giant's Eye 3D. Yeah, see this, and this is issues I was having before. Something's going on with even the Giants plugin. So let's bring up Blender again. Shift A, Mesh, Cube, Let's just see if we can simply export right now. Okay, so we exported fine that time. I was having issues with that. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, for some reason I keep having issues exporting. And the biggest thing I'll do is I'll usually just back out of Giants. And so basically, if you do it without a texture, and I don't even know if I assigned a material, I probably better assign a material. You'll get the non-binary. That's not a big deal. You can just save it as a binary file. But if you try to come into this guy, now you could assign a diffuse texture, which we're not getting into that right now. Whoops, desktop, computer, effect. Can actually do the same thing. Go with fill planes, barley diffuse. So it's going to look a little goofy because it doesn't have all the other files, the gloss and everything. But if you try to go in and assign a normal map right now, so if I go back to data, the one I usually use is shared, default normal, and back out of here, it's going to come up with this tangent error. Now there's a workaround. You can go into your shape, turn on tangents, go back, and then go in and add your normal map, which I already took it, so, and there's not an issue there. But the way to get around that and not have that issue is right in Blender. I'll just go ahead and close Blender back out, bring Blender back in. We go Shift A, Mesh, Cube, we add a material, New, and we go in, we're going to add a texture. I'm just going to use my default normal. So what you do is you slide on down here, you have the file, you want to go, it's usually already selected as single image and image or movie. They show you this in the old Giants videos, but then you want UV, oops, it'd help if I unwrapped it, Smart UV Project. Okay, we don't really need to see the UV image editor, but it's there anyway. So you would go UV map, so it's picking up that UV. Now you would get rid of the normal diffuse color, and we're going to select geometry normal. Now when you go file, export, Giants i3D, we're going to hit the plus button to go Untitled 1, hit enter, and we didn't get our errors that time. That was a good thing. I hope I wasn't going to have to fight that. Now when we open up this file, number one, we already have a normal file, but if I close that out and I go, okay, I want that normal, we're not getting that error. And as you can see, it already has tangents selected because you did that through the UV. If you see, it basically brings out default as a chrome look. But anyway, that's another little short thing that actually took some extra time, but I wanted to explain that. If you're having issues getting that error, that's one of them. Another one is a decal, which I'll have to get into in another video, I think. So back to the good stuff now to actually start moving this stuff around. So we're going to select this all, we're going to go tools, and we're going to go back to material selector like we're doing. We're going to hit wood, so it should have moved it off into this grid. And you have an up, left, right, down. Looks like there's up, right, up, left as well, but we moved it to wood. We're gonna, once again, we have a material. I want to make sure, once again, I already messed up. I had a material selected. We're gonna deselect material. I hit new. We're gonna go to our texture and go new. I'm gonna open. We're just gonna go. I have a default normal selected already. UV map. Get rid of the diffuse, normal. We're going to go file, export, Giants i3D. We're going to hit the plus on the number pad to go to the next untitled, hit OK. We didn't get any errors, or already a good start. Now, another little thing. This is something I was having some problems with pulling in, and Dogface recommended. I always come in here and edit this anyway. Once again, getting too much in the pathing side, but if your i3D is in this folder and your texture's in this folder, you don't need the E:// you get rid of that. And then also Giants uses file ID 2 for the normal, or for the normal file. I don't know why it exports it out this way, but what I've been doing, this was causing me some issues, is I've been changing the file ID to 2, file ID 2 down here in the materials. So we're going to hit save. The gloss is 3. Diffuse is default 1. So we're going to open this guy up. Now it's going to look goofy when we open it up. It's not. It's like I said before, by default it always brings it in as a chrome because it has to use that gridding off the vehicle shader. So we're just going to grab that object. We're going to come in here and go to the gloss because that helps display this image as well on this cube. We're just going to use a shared. So we're going to go default specular. It doesn't have any dirt on this file, so it makes it a little easier as well. As you can see right off the bat, like, okay, that's odd. Why is it looking weird? Well, we have to come back down here. We have to apply a shader. So it's in Farming Simulator data, shaders. We need the vehicle shader. When you select the vehicle shader, as you can see, it's already starting to change a little bit. Now we come up here, we're going to go color mask, and bam, there you go. Now you have a wooden cube. So that is basically in a nutshell how you get that far. I said once again, you know, I always try to apply my normal in Blender, and you could apply the specular as well, but sometimes it's just easier to do it through a Giants editor. But like I said, the first thing I do is I come in, I apply the gloss file. Like I said, you can use any specular. If you wanted to have the dirt, you come into the shared, and I just kind of stole the reflectors from the trailer because that way it adds the dent scratch. Sorry, dent scratches and dirt. As you can see, there's a little bit of breakup on the edges. That's because of that map. I don't have it tight. The UV map. Like I said, if you want to get rid of scratches, you would do 0, and that would get rid of the dirt. And once again, you can't change the color of this because this is a standard material. It's not a color selectable material. So that was wood. If you want to come out here, come back, tab, so we can see our UVs again, and this is where it gets goofy. So if I try to go back to painted metal, that worked fine. Sometimes it's a little goofy. So let's go copper. It should have been, yeah, so it's 3 over. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if I hit copper, I should move the UV over into the copper. We're going to go back out. To take your materials off, you have to be in object mode, but I highly suggest removing your material. And I think, just for the heck of it, I think we can go right back in and select the material again, so it'd share the same files, but you definitely want to apply that material after you've fixed or put your UVs where you want. So let's try it here. Export. I should have tested this off video. Enter. Once again, we're going to go into the i3D. We're going to edit. Get rid of the lines we don't need. I'm going to change this to 2 and 2. I'm going to save. I'm going to open this up. Cross our fingers. That doesn't just turn out gray. If not, we'll have to go back in and, well, we're starting out good. It's in, you can see it's got a little bit of a tint to it. So we're going to add that gloss map. Once again, I'm just using the shared, so it's default specular for gloss. And you can, if you have a gloss file, you can use it. We're just doing basics right now. We're going to go into the shader. And go shaders, vehicle shader, and we want color mask. As you can see, there we are. It's copper is what I said, right? Yep, copper. So you can see now we have copper. And I'll show you, so when you do a plane, it looks a little different. It doesn't have the reflectability because it doesn't have the edges. Now if I add a light in here, it kind of drowns it out once in a while as well. But that is a simple way to show you, I guess, how that program works. Now where it gets a little tricky here is when I start to do planes. And so let's do a new file. Split this area, and this is where it gets pretty cool. Let's make this the UV editor. I'll bring the tools up right off the bat. Under Shift A, we're going to do a plane. What I'm going to do is in the tab, I'm actually going to subdivide this into a few cuts so we can add materials to it. We're going to go all. We're going to unwrap Smart UV Project 103, enter, hit OK. Now we have it over here. Okay, we're going to do the material selector, and this is where it gets a little odd. It tells you to keep this sync off, but I've been having issues when I do that, so I've been turning it on and selecting the face individually. So what you do is you would come over here, for example, we'll make the top 3 color selectable. So I think it's 0. Yeah, I'm trying to remember which way these count. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but we'll see here in a little bit. So we're going to select this face, we're going to make the first one color, and of course it didn't work. Yeah, and see, this is where it got a little goofy before. They're not split up, so I'm going to be half of it. There we go. I don't know what I did to make it start working all of a sudden, but now we got it. I'm going to go color 2. And see that's not right. Color 2 should be over here. So that's where I've been having a little bit of issues with this program. So we're going to just slide it back over. The left and the right seem to work okay. But for some reason it gets off, and I'm not sure what's causing it. Yeah, it's just going straight over. So let's do something quick here. New, Shift A, let's do a plane, tab, subdivide, let's go up a couple of spots. Let's unwrap, 103, enter, split area, UV image, let's turn that off and that off so we have some room. Tab. Yeah, see, it didn't. Smart UV Project, hit OK. There we go. Material selector. Okay. I think I had to select it all. That was the deal. So we're gonna grab that face there, color, and see. Once again, it's. Don't know why. And that's where they suggest to turn the sync off. So we hit color 1. See how it stretches it? So once again, this is the part that frustrates me a little bit. It's an awesome plugin, and I'm using something wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Once you kind of go in and out, it picks it up. But so we're going to make that color 1. And like I said, that's not right. That's either rubber, and that's where it comes in handy to have this little grid. So that would be painted plastic, and we don't want painted plastic. We want color material 1. So what I've been doing, as you can see, is trying to move it back up where it's supposed to go. Something's not right. So I'm going to move it manually, and that's where that comes in handy. I said I apologize for all this stammer and stuttering, but this is where I've run into some issues. But that's why I have this right 0, down 1, right 1, down 1. It comes in handy when you want to start doing these sub faces, I guess. It's probably not. It's probably a bullcrap word to use, but basically I'm going to take it down 1 grid, right 1. So that's making it basically down 1, right 1 is color material 1. So the first one is color material 0. Now we're going to do chrome on the other one, so this is bad because I can't fit this all on the screen. So chrome is right 2 up 0. So we're just going to go right 2, 1, 2, and we don't want to go up at all. So if we want to do copper, that one was right 3. So we're going to 1, 2, 3. If we want to do wood, which is 14, is right 6 up 1. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up 1. As you can see, it kind of comes off the screen. Let's do, say, leather. So leather. Let's do the other one is right 4 up 1. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1. Let's do another painted material, I guess. So let's go down 1, right 2. Take this guy down 1, right 3. Whoops, I did 2. Take this one down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, they're all spread out all over the place, but this will kind of show you how this grid system works. So we're going to go back to tab, because I think I have material. No, I don't. So we can select the material, new, open. We're just going to go with the default normal, UV map, normal, file, export. Is probably going to give me an error. Oops, I'm just going to put you right there. We're just going to add one, hit enter. Hey, no errors. We're on a good start. So this is where the cool part starts coming in. Go ahead and edit this guy like I have been doing. Make that a 2. Make that a 2. Get rid of these extra characters we don't need. And then we're going to open them right up. Cross our fingers. Like I say, it's just going to look chrome right now, because that's the standard material until we get into the vehicle shader. So we're going to go ahead and add our gloss in. Data, shared, default specular, changes the looks a little bit. We're going to go in, we're going to grab this shader, so data, shaders, vehicle shader. Now you see it start to change a little bit. And we're going to go color mask, and bam, there we go. Now we have all the materials that we added. Now I don't remember everything, but you can see, obviously you can see that's copper right there as we bring the light, the sun across it, which is, I guess, I don't know how that works, where it's picking that light up just in the material or what. I don't remember what else we added. That's what's bad. So it looks like I added chrome, copper, chrome. We did wood. Oh, leather. That was another one. So leather. Which one is the leather? I'm going to say that one right there is leather. Once again, if we go Control L for light. Yeah, yep. You gotta get really close. I don't know if it'll show up on the YouTube video. It might be too much detail. That is a leather right there. So now the cool thing is we can grab this and start playing with those colors a little bit as well. Let's dump this light because it washes it out. So if I go to color material 0, which I believe will be this guy, if we start sliding this around, oh, it's up on the top there. I'm pointing my finger. Can't see it, but you still have that as a color selectable. So we'll put that back to default 08, and then this little red guy should be 01. Yep. So it's changing. As you can see, it's changing the color from red to a different color. Put that back to 1, and then I think this guy is material 2. Oh, it's down here. So, and that's the thing, you gotta make sure you got your UVs the right way, or it could be all over the place, and I don't know how I did it. Could have been the way I did it anyway. As you can see, the colors are changing there, and once again, if we want to take this guy and make it leather, which I always forget. I know what wood is. 14, I don't know why it's stuck in my head, but leather I think is 12 or 13, so we'll go 13. Change that to 13, as you can see it changed, maybe. You can see it. Oop. Computer's working, so now to me it makes it look like it has orange peel. So that just shows you how you can kind of utilize it on different parts of one face, I guess. Well, it has several faces, but you can spread it across a piece of equipment, which I'll show here real quick. That's why I have this weight open. Let's close this guy out. Minimize this. So I have this weight from Giants. We're just going to open it up, export it quick, and I'll show you how this is kind of a cool feature. So we're just going to pull this out. We're just going to grab the visual. We're going to go File, Export Selection. We're going to go Desktop, My Computer. Just going to dump it into this hard drive. We're going to do a binary. Oops, I want binary, I want wavefront. I'm just going to call it weight. Hit enter. Don't save this. You'll mess up your Giants file. You go back into Blender. Go file, import, wavefront file. Go into here. We're going to open up that weight. There's our weight. We're going to tab into edit mode. Now you don't have to unwrap this because that's the cool thing about the previous model. It already has, and you see how it's all spread out. This is all colorable. This is all in the 0, 0 area. But what we're going to do is we're going to move them around. So that's the cool thing about this. So let's go. I'm going to select them all. See if we can get this to work. Hit tools, and let's just go ahead and dump this out of the way so we can see what we're doing. So we're just going to grab this guy here, and we're going to go to material selector, and we're going to move it to color. I'm probably going to have to move it one by one because it thinks it's in the center probably. If I go to color 2 and it's not even doing nothing, I got to figure out what causes that. Sometimes it does it to me and sometimes it doesn't. So we're going to go right one. We're going to go deselect all. We're going to hit B. We're going to go right 1, 2, B. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Let's just select these guys. 1, 2. Oops. Yes, that's where you got to make sure you grab the whole part. Here it'll stretch them out, and that's where the syncing is. It gives an explanation in the file about this, but I haven't been able to get it to work right, so it's got to be something I'm doing, obviously, because that's just me. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to tab out, we're going to add a material, add a texture, same old thing. We're just going to come in here and we're just going to go default normal. We're going to go UV map, disable that, select that, file, export, Giants Eye 3D, go into there. We're going to call it just weight, hit enter, no errors is a good thing. We're going to go edit, same thing, we're going to get rid of this, make that a 2, make that a 2, save, close it out, open it up in the editor, and it's going to be all gloss right now. You can see there's a little bit of difference in some materials, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to select our gloss map, which is a specular and default, which I'm in the wrong area now. We'll just use that default spec anyway, since I'm in that folder. We're going to have to search for this though, because the desktop, I got 19 data, data, shaders, vehicle shader, color mask, and there you go. See how we have all the different, that's where I moved all them textures around. That's why we're getting, so obviously the yellow must be on 0, 0, but then you have the 0, 1, the 0, 2. So now when I come in here and I start sliding these guys, so if I start changing 0, it's changing the larger area, which is normally yellow. So you can make it whatever you want. Go that route if you want. But you can see you have all different colors on that one part, and these guys are probably up in the stainless area or something. But like I said, cool thing once again, if you want to come in here and you want to make this chrome, you have like a pink chrome. If you want to come down here and make this guy wood texture, just 2, so I'd have to look to see. Yeah, it looks like the green is 2. But as you can see, that's a cool thing. You can start to take models and do some crazy things with it. And you can still, if you wanted to, you can actually grab the original gloss file by going to, let's see, 19 data, vehicles, AGCO, and it looks like AGCO weight specular. So that's actually going to give you your real dirt and dents and scratches. As you can see, it looks a little better. Same thing, I can actually go in there and grab the correct normal file as well. I'm just using them as a default because it's smooth and it doesn't have any other issues. So 19 data, vehicles, AGCO, co-weight normal. You can see you get a lot of detail by doing that. You're getting some extra texturing in there. You saw that file, looks crazy. And if you try to open that file, good luck. You can see how it's all gold because it's actually adding all the lines and the print and the imprints on there. That's the cool thing about that normal file. So yeah, once again, if you come down here, you can get rid of your dents and scratches by hitting that, or you can come in here, get rid of your dirt as well, or scripts, FS19, vehicles, dirt, toggle, and I have to do it twice because I messed it up. It's out of sync. So there's your dirt back. When you change it down here, it throws the sync off up here. So anyhow, we got a little under an hour. It's probably longer than it should have been, but I'm sure I could have always added more in. I hope that's making some sense. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, but that's the best I can do right now because I'm still trying to learn. So basically, if we want to get rid of that binary error down here, or warning, whatever it gives us, yeah, it's a warning, we can go save as. Don't want to save it in there. We want to go back to where I had it, computer. Here, we're going to wait. We're going to go binary, save, yes, replace. We're going to close it out. Do not save because it just changed it. If you open that weight back up, everything's still there, but as you see, we have no issues over here. Something else I want to show you though, since we did that. So the cool thing about FS19, like I said, the whole material thing is saving a ton of memory on the diffuse files, because you start looking at files, you know, for example, like this is only a normal file, but if you look at the properties of it, it's 5 megabytes. So if you have 100 pieces of equipment and multiply that on your diffuse, you're not using that diffuse anymore. You can change your materials in XML too. Well, that's what's cool. You can go into the game and you can do that. And like I said, I can kind of do that on another video. Kind of show that in the color, but what I want to show you is now, instead of having all them texture files inside your mod folder, it's actually using the string data, shaders, vehicle shader, string data, vehicles, AGCO weights normal. It's not even pulling them files from this folder anymore. So if I actually take this here, let's just do this, go new folder, and I grab these guys and I move them here, and I actually move this guy outside, because normally, and if I just delete these just to try to prove that it's not pulling from there, but normally when you start doing that with FS17, you'd start having some issues because it'd come up, I can't find this texture. But now because of them string data commands, we have no errors, and there it is. So like I said, it's cool as you can actually have a mod with no textures except for your store data. That's basically how that works. Now I guess we are under an hour, so let's do this quick. Let me show you where this kind of comes into effect as well. If you go, let's see, let me bring up a mod I was messing with. So test, here's a multi-seed XML. So what's cool here, I'm going to go into base, material, configurations. I found this from NC Raider. So basically, if you add these lines here, or that text there and that text there is not normally there. This is just a name. I think you could probably pull into your mod script if you wanted, but we're just going to call this wood, and then we're going to use material 14. I don't know why I said I always remember wood. It's goofy, but then we'll go ahead and save this guy. Now when we open the game up, let's make sure we have my test mod activated. Yes. But that's where that shader comes in, that last line in the shader. Career, just bring up the save game, hit start. It's been so long since I played the game, it has to think. Now if we go to the store, go to Cedars and scroll all the way over, we're going to grab that guy. You can see, it's hard to see from out here. Let's go ahead and buy. Yes, okay. Let's buy a tractor, so we'll buy it. I might have a bunch of them over here, maybe. Oh, maybe not. So if we jump out, once again you got to turn the light to kind of see it, but you can see there's like a wood texture on there. I think this guy was the same way, so I didn't have to buy one. So let's go ahead and we'll just back out. If I go into that same XML, and once again, if you bring up that handy dandy worksheet here, as you can see, 14's wood. You get painted metal, painted plastic, and then chrome. So if we put in a 2, we come over here, and just to prove that doesn't really do anything, if we hit 2, save, let's close this out, bring the game back up. Now when you go into your store, Cedars, grab that guy. See how it's got a way different, it's really glossy. In fact, I think I changed the orange too. You can see the oranges. And I don't even have to buy it because I already have it out there. If you change it XML, it affects the in-game stuff. But yeah, check out how glossy that is because we switched the material to chrome. I mean, that's just pretty cool. I said leather. If you use leather, it'll make it look what I call orange peel. Oops, grab that. And leather, so let's go leather 2 is 13. So grab that guy. F, base, I already had it, base, material. 13, save him. There you go. Get real close, you can kind of see it. So it reminds me of a old paint, or I keep saying orange peel. I'm not even a painter, but I have that term stuck in my mind. Hearing guys talk about it. You still have the gloss on the, or the chrome on the rest of the piece of equipment, but like I said, you're getting that leather look there. So I think that's it. Like I said, feel free to send me any questions. I might not be able to answer, but I'll find somebody that can. I just figured I'd get this far on the materials, kind of explain it a little bit. Like I said, I'm no expert, and I am no blender expert. I had someone in my stream the other day when I was fighting it, just going, oh dear God, this guy is horrible. But I don't claim to be awesome. I stick my head down and kind of figure things out with a lot of help. So the NC Raiders, Dogface was really helpful. I said I'm always talking to Maverick in my Discord, but like I said, the best way to contact me is Discord, guys. I'll leave my link under the video. Go to my website, click on the contact, and hit Discord. That's a lot easier to find me that way. Just YouTube, I've gotten a little better on finding my messages, but sometimes it'll go like 3 weeks where I won't see a message. I don't know how to explain it, but it just happens. So that is it for now. Like I said, I'll leave a link for this guy. I'll also leave a link for the material system if you just kind of want to look at it as an example. This was well before I started doing the little add-on moving things around, so I can't guarantee this is correct, but as you can see, this was saved with the Giants editor, and you can see where it gets the 2 is for the normal, the 3 is for the gloss, and then it adds a shader in here. And that's a good practice too. You could just copy these lines in, but like I said, I would always change that 2, and you don't need anything here if that i3D is in the same folder. But I think that's it. I'll let you guys go. I'll also leave a link for the I think it's called UDIM. Let's look for it quick, because this is where it ends up. Users, I think I want owner, app data, roaming, Blender Foundation, Blender 2.79, scripts, add-ons. Yeah, it's a UDIM farming. But I'll leave that link from NLD Farmers. Sorry, I probably messed it up. Talked about it in the beginning. We're just under an hour, so let's get off here. We'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully this was helpful. Maybe it wasn't. Good luck.